I am Lucrezia, and I am in danger. Because of my love, I don't know if I will wake up tomorrow. My life is threatened. And you'd better listen to my story, so you won't have to face it yourself. So, I live in one of the poorest areas of Italy, Calabria, where people farm to support themselves and their families. For example, my family grows olives. But it's not easy, and it doesn't bring in as much money as I would like. Now, I'm 15, I'm doing well at school, and I dream of going to study somewhere in a big city. I really want to see Rome. Recently, I've started to notice boys' eyes on me. During the last year, I got taller. A whole head taller than my mom, but with the same luxurious blonde hair. Often, they even call me a mermaid. From school, I walk home along the road, and my mother always asks me to walk quickly, not to look around, not to talk to strangers. She worries about me, and I understand why. Most of the young guys in our area don't want to grow olives. They want quick and big money, and that's why they join the Mafia. They drop out of school, and as teenagers, start doing things that aren't legal at all. I have a friend, Salvador. We're neighbors and grew up together. I was sure we would always be best friends. But when Salvador turned 11, his father died suddenly. His mother couldn't feed a large family on her own, and Salvador had to quit school and look for work. He had always been a very smart kid, quick, sharp, and beyond his years of understanding. No one ever said out loud where or for whom Salvador had started working, but the neighbors whispered amongst themselves that he worked for the Mafia. He disappeared from sight for a few years. He was rarely at home. We never saw each other, but his mother always had a hot dinner on the table, and all the children, and there were 7 of them, went to school clothed and shod. I was beginning to forget about my best friend until one day. You'll find out what happened next in a minute. But for now, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And make sure you have the bell clicked, then you'll know when a new video comes out on the channel. Until one day on my way home, I was blocked by a car. That shiny, black car braked sharply in front of me, so loudly that I bounced back. I got scared. The highway. No one was there. And suddenly this car, and even with tinted windows. At once I began to think of scary stories about how children are kidnapped on the road. And then, the car door opened, and a young guy in a beautiful black shirt and shiny buttons, and the same black pants jumped out of there. His eyes were covered by fancy aviator glasses. I looked around in confusion. "Hello, Lucrezia. Didn't you recognize me?" This guy took off his glasses and smiled at me. It was Salvador. I couldn't believe my eyes. The little skinny boy was now a tall, strong, 15-year-old boy, and he was driving a car. He drove me home. And of course, my whole family was shocked. In the evening, Salvador asked me out. He picked me up in his car and we went for a drive. Salvador brought me up the hill where he and I liked to come as kids. There was a fantastic view of the whole town. And now it was bathed in lights. And Salvador and I couldn't take our eyes off of it. I didn't want to talk about anything. Salvador moved closer to me and slowly put his hand on my shoulder. I didn't protest. On the contrary, it felt good. When I saw how Salvador had changed, I realized that now I looked at him not just as a friend, but as a very handsome guy. I put my head on his shoulder, and Salvador gently stroked my hand. And then we kissed. It was so unusual. I hadn't met a guy before, and I certainly hadn't kissed a guy. But now with Salvador, it was different. We started dating. My parents were very against it. They understood that Salvador was working for the bad guys. But I didn't care. I liked him. And the other girls envied me that my boyfriend already drove a car. Often, Salvador would wait for me outside school and bring me home. And sometimes he would disappear for a few days. And I understood that he had a job to do, but he never told me the details. One day, he and I were driving from school. The music was playing. Salvador was telling me something. I was laughing my head off, and suddenly, a car blocked our way. It was a Jeep. Dirty, swampy, with dark windows. Salvador turned pale. He told me to stay in the car, but he grabbed his holstered pistol from the glove compartment and got out of the car. I was trembling with fear inside. I saw Salvador walk up to the Jeep. The passenger side window slid down, and a large man's hand struck out and grabbed Salvador on his jacket. Apparently, something was said to him. He nodded slowly in response. A minute later, the Jeep drove away, and Salvador returned to the car. He was silent, and then he said quietly, "Lucrezia, I have to leave town. For how long? I don't know. And I want you to come with me. I know it's a lot to take in, but there's no time. My life is in danger, and since you were seen in my car, so is yours. Think about it until morning, and at 4 o'clock sharp, I'll be waiting for you at the crossroads on my way home from school. And now I'm sitting at home, and I don't know what to do. Go away with Salvador? But I won't be able to say anything to my family. Mom would just go crazy. Stay? And if my life is really in danger? And I like Salvador. I want to be with him. What would you do if you were me? Right, I don't have much time to think. Maybe your advice will help me."
Hi, I'm Tori, and I'm going to tell you how sneaky a best friend can be. When I moved to high school, studying became a lot harder, and my parents always demanded the highest grades for me in all subjects. My dad constantly checked what grades I got, and if they were low, I was severely punished for it. I tried my best, sat in the evenings over books, so as not to disappoint my parents. But still, there were students who studied better than me. One of them, Kevin, was a real genius. He was a straight A student. He sat in front of me, and I always looked at him with undisguised admiration. Until one moment. We had a multiple choice math test that was really difficult. Everyone was working really hard during the test, and so was I. But suddenly I noticed that Kevin had a little cheat sheet on his knees. Oh, that's it. He's not a genius. He's just a cheater. I raised my hand and told the teacher about it. Kevin had, after this incident, one more chance to write the test. But from that moment on, he hated me and bullied me all the time. My best friend Maya was always there to protect me. She wouldn't let me get hurt, but one day something happened that changed everything. Before I continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And make sure you've clicked the bell. Then you'll know when there's a new video coming out on the channel. Kevin asked Maya out and they started dating. After that, my relationship with Maya totally went weird. I was so hurt. Maya and I had been besties since first grade. And now, I decided to get back at her for treating me like that, for ditching our friendship for her new boyfriend. I decided to make Kevin mine. One day after class, I went up to him to apologize. "Kevin, hi. I know you're mad at me about the other day. I'm really embarrassed, really. You're the best student in math, and I need your help. Can you help me with the last topic? I didn't understand it in class. Kevin looked at me silently for a couple of seconds and then nodded. Okay, let's do it after class. And I'm not mad at you. Kevin really was the best. He explained everything to me in detail, and I wrote my next quiz excellently. Wow! Kevin, my parents are looking for a math tutor for me. $25 an hour at my house. Would you agree? Kevin scratched the back of his head. Maya would kill me if she knew I was your tutor, but I need the money too. Okay, it's a deal. And I'll try to explain everything to Maya. Maya first was really angry at Kevin, but eventually she got over it. She still wouldn't talk to me though. Kevin came over 3 times a week to explain the subject to me, and we soon realized that he and I had a lot in common. He, like me, read a lot, was interested in space and comic books. One day, he and I were laughing out loud at some joke, and Kevin suddenly said, "You're so funny, Tori. I don't get to have that much fun with Maya." And I understood it was time for me to do the next move. I sat a little closer to Kevin. Kevin, I've been wanting to ask you, we're both really into space. I have an uncle who works at SpaceX. SpaceX? Kevin was very surprised. Yes, and he can take us on a tour. What do you say? Kevin was starting to have doubts. Maya, she won't understand it, and I don't want to hurt her. She won't find out, Kevin. And he agreed. The next day we got into SpaceX location, where everything was really so interesting, and I secretly took a picture of us together on my cell phone. And of course, I sent it to Maya, and then posted it on my page, tagged Kevin, and put a heart in the caption. It was a scandal. Everyone at school remembered how I had given up Kevin's cheating to the teacher, after which Kevin bullied me, and everyone was confused. I put a heart emoji in the caption. Maya didn't go to school for a week. Kevin was mad at me at first, but then he and I had a frank conversation and realized we had feelings for each other, and we decided to date. And a couple of weeks later, we announced to everyone that we were a couple. So, to get revenge on my best friend, I got her boyfriend. We've been together for 6 months now, and everything is good. What do you think about that? Did I do a really mean thing? What would you have done in my place? Please write. I'm really looking forward to your comments.